What is going on, my family? Your boy Demetrius is back with another Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown Classic video. And here, this is going to come to somewhat of a surprise to people because we are going to talk about the character tier list in Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, because everybody already knows I don't like fighting game character tier lists. It's just something that I just don't do. It's just something that I just don't mess with. But I've been getting plenty of demands, you know what I'm saying? People DMing me talking about, can you do a Virtua Fighter tier list? We want to know what you think about it, about the characters and all that, strengths and weaknesses, up and downs and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm thinking to myself, I really don't want to because I don't do that. But then I'm just like, all right, you know what? I'm going to give my honest thoughts, honest opinions. It took me a while to put this together because you can't just put a tier list together. You really got to give shit some thought and, really scope the characters out from top to bottom. So that's exactly what I did. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. But before we get into talking about the tier list, I just want y'all to know this is just a tier list. This ain't concrete at all. Like I keep on saying, I do not believe in fucking tier lists. But, since people want my honest opinion on the scoping of these characters, I'm gonna give it. I always go by the saying, you know what, if you use a character and master that character, you can buff that character your damn self. And that's what a lot of us have shown with a lot of these characters that we use in fighting, not just Virtua Fighter, but in fighting games in general. We get so good with these characters, we make these characters seem like they're the highest tier in the game, and that's what it's all about. That's what I go by. But we are going to talk about the overall tier list when it comes to Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. So we are going to get into this shit right now. Now, the first thing right off the bat that I'm gonna tell y'all is, with this tier list that I created, there is no S tier. And there are two reasons why I did not put an S tier in the Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown tier list. Because the first reason is, when you talk about S tier, I kind of feel like in order for there to be an S tier, it's got to have a lot of characters. And compared to other fighting games, Virtua Fighter has a minimum amount of characters. So I don't think a S tier is necessary in Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. And the second reason is, when you're talking about S tiers in fighting games, you talking about all that super shit. You feel what I'm saying? Super moves, DLC characters, fatal blows, and all that shit. All of that shit factors in when you talk about S tier. And we already know Virtua Fighter is not that type of game. That S tier shit, that's really that super shit. And Virtua Fighter is not that type of game to be talking about that. So that's the reason why there is no S tier in this Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown tier list, and rightfully so. So we are going to start with the top. We are going to start with the A-list characters, and the characters that I have in the A-list are Shun-Di at number 1, Jackie Bryan at number 2, and reluctantly Akira Yuki at number 3. But like I said before, this is honest and unbiased, so I do have Akira at number 3 in the A-list tier. Now with Shun-Di, we already know, whether you believe it or not, Shun-Di has been the best character in Virtua Fighter really since VF3, and he is the best character in Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Now, he is the best character in the game, but he also does have the most weaknesses in the game. But that is the kind of nature of the beast when you are dealing with the overall best character. He's going to have the most overall weaknesses, or there's going to be a downfall that this character is going to have. And Shun-Di does have a lot of them. But the reason why I put him at number 1, and like I said, he is the best character in the game. And basically anything that you want from him, he can do. Anything you want offense, he has offense. You want stances, he has stances. Frame traps, he has frame traps. Like, Shun-Di just has every single thing you can think of. He does have defense. He doesn't really have a lot of defensive tools, but is there. He's got some sabakis. He's got a lot of shit going on. A lot of his stances are defensive stances as well. His ground stance is kind of like a defensive stance. He can sidestep from his one of his stances. He really literally has it all. And not only that, Shun-Di, when he drinks more and more, Shun-Di just gets powerful as fuck. More moves become available to him. With Shun-Di, it's almost like you're playing 3 games at once. You're playing the character, you're playing the drinking game, and then once the drinking game gets going, you're playing the game of the move list. So, overall fun character, a character that just has everything going for him. Like I said, he does have the most weaknesses, but there's a reason for it. And to me, that is balance right there. So that is the reason why I put Shun-Di overall at number 1. He just has everything going for him, but at the same time, he does have weaknesses that you can kind of break through that. Secondly is Jackie Bryant. Jackie Bryant pretty much the same as Shun-Di. Jackie, pretty much one of the best setup characters in the game. He has everything that he needs to dominate a match. Jackie has lows now. You know, before Virtua Fighter 5, Jackie did not have a singular low attack, which what I mean by that is the only way that Jackie could really do something low is if he was in a string. You know what, like in the original VF4, he just didn't have that low attack that he can just use on you. Jackie has that now. He has a lot of other things too. And one of the things about Jackie, like I said, he's a nice setup character. One of the best counter hit characters in the game. Jackie has the best move in the game. He has the best special move in the game. The sword kick, or the Irigiri kick, however you want to call it. That is literally the best move in the game. Jackie has that at his disposal. Jackie also has a good combo game, and he has one of the most powerful combos in the game because of the best move that he has in the game. So Jackie is one of those characters, like, you can really improvise with him. He's one of the best improvising characters in the game. He's kind of like a plan A, plan B, plan C type of character. If plan A don't work, you can go to plan B with Jackie. He's one of those type of characters. Now, the reason why I don't put Jackie overall number 1 over Shun-Di is because Jackie's defense is kind of lacking. And then on top of that too, at times Jackie does kind of struggle at opening up his opponents. You know, if Jackie does not have a good read on his opponents, it can be a struggle for Jackie to open his opponents up. But if Jackie can set you up and he can get a read on you, Jackie can just basically just lightning crush the hell out of you, you know, and you can't keep up, and he can keep you on your heels. But it can be a struggle for Jackie, you know, in some cases, for him to open up other characters or other opponents. That is the only really weakness I really see of Jackie. Other than that, Jackie is a good number 2 in the A list. And then, you know, I have Akira Yuki. Now, I really don't even have to say too much about Akira, why he's on the A list. Like I said, this was real reluctant for me to put Akira on the A list, but I had to be unbiased here. All I gotta say, 6-6P guard break, and that's pretty much it. And then, of course, the broken jump kick. So, you know, Akira just got a lot of stupid broken shit going on. Pretty much top tier on purpose. You know how it is. Main character of the franchise, you know, super buffed up. Really, there's just no explaining, you know, how Akira is. Akira is what he is. One of the most powerful characters in the game. Of course, one of the best defensive characters in the game. One of the most safest characters in the game. Probably top 3. He really doesn't have a lot of block punishable moves. His biggest weakness is wake ups. That's where you can really punish him. And also, he's a character that you really have to pay attention as far as whiff punishing and duck punishing. That is the best way to get Akira. Other than that, block punishing him is going to be a struggle, because that is Akira's biggest strength. Like, Akira wants you to block, so block punishing him, you're gonna have a very hard time with that, because he's got a slew of guard breaks. And like I said, the 6-6P, you know, the average Akira player is just, they can just keep doing that move. Top tier move. Just is nothing you can do about that move. The only thing that you can do about that move is block, evade, and then when you evade it, you still can't do shit. So it's Akira. So you know what I'm saying? So not really a lot I can say about Akira. Everybody knows how Akira is. He's just super buffed up on purpose, and we all know that. But he is number 3 on the A list of characters. Now, the reason why I don't put Akira as number 1, because it is just too obvious, because that is exactly what the developers want, and I'm not going to do that. He is not going to be the top character in the game like the developers want him to be. I'm not going to do that. That's not fair. It's too obvious. And then on top of that too, the reason why I don't put Akira number 1 overall is because Akira is a character that is just not for everybody. Let's just keep it real. He's a character that I definitely would want to use. I can use him, but I just don't want to use him. You feel what I'm saying? Even for fun purposes. So he's not a character for everybody. That is the reason why I don't put him number 1 overall. But like I said before, Akira is just maximum buffed up. We already know how that is. So now we are going to go to the B tier list. And the B tier list, I have the characters. First, my main character, Lao Chan. I think Lao starts off with the B list. Then there's Kage. Then there's Gauhi Nugami. Then there's Wolf. And then there's Jeffrey. Now, depending on who you are, Wolf and Jeffrey can flip-flop. You know, either Wolf can be in front of Jeffrey or Jeffrey can be in front of Wolf. I really think Wolf and Jeffrey are pretty much identical level. That's just me. But we're going to start with my main character, Lao Chan. Lao Chan, as I said, Lao leads the B tier list. And I'm going to give the reasons on why I feel like Lao is the top of the B tier. You know, Lao is quick. Lao is fast. Lao is powerful. He packs a mean punch. Lao has combos. His combo potential is on the same level as Jackie. He has all of that. Now, here's the thing. Lao gets criticized for not having any defense whatsoever. But let me tell y'all something. What is the famous saying? The best defense is a good offense. And Lao arguably has the best offense in the game. When you have offense like Lao does, you don't need defense. That's the whole point of Lao. His offense is his defense. And not only that, he has guard breaks. So when he pressures you, and if the opponent wants to just sit there and block, he can break your guard and then he can set you up for big combo damage. Now, the reason why I don't put my main character Lao Chan in the A list is because Lao probably has the biggest weakness in the game. Now, I've said that Shun Di has the most weaknesses in the game. Lao probably has the biggest weakness in the game, and the weakness is the evade. Lao is very vulnerable to the evade, to where, you know, when he starts his rundown, Lao honestly just can't stop. So, you know, if opponent just, you know, if they just try to evade you, they're going to get away with some stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a Lao Chan main, it really pisses me off how a lot of opponents just sidestep me and just launch my ass with no effort. But, you know, that is Lao's weakness because he's such a pressure character, straightforward and rundown. The evade is really his biggest enemy. And not only that, Lao is also vulnerable to the 2P as well because most of his attacks either start high or start mid. And if the opponent sees that, all they got to do is just throw out 2P and Lao can get destructed that way. So that's what's keeping my main character from being in the A list, is because of those two weaknesses right there, especially the evade. I think right there, you know, when Lao gets evaded, I think that's what really kills Lao because, you know, the opponents can really get big damage off of him that way. And they can also keep him side turned if they can get off with a successful evade. So the evade is Lao's biggest weakness, and I feel that is the biggest weakness in the game out of all the characters. It's unfortunate for my main character, but you know what? I make it work. Now we're gonna go to Kage, and a lot of people are probably wondering, why isn't Kage on the A list? Well, the reason why I didn't put Kage on the A list, and he is a strong B list character, the reason why I didn't put Kage on the A list is because Kage's combo game is really lacking, even though he has that killer instinct type wall combo. Kage's combo game is really lacking. Kage is really not all that powerful of a character. He's a character basically that relies off of gimmicks. Let's just keep it real. But as far as power, he's not a very powerful character. He's not even really a fast character either. So Kage's got a lot of stuff keeping him from being in the A list, but he is a strong B list character. The reason for it is because I keep on saying it. Kage has the cheapest move in fighting game history. You feel what I'm saying? That fucking move, when a Kage player does that, it's just like Kage becomes invincible when he does that move. It's like the cheapest move in fighting game history. But Kage has it. Not only that, of course, he has the famous throw where he can throw you out of the ring. Kage still has all that. So like I said, Kage relies off of goofy gimmick stuff, you know what I'm saying? And this is why I don't put him in the A list. but he is a strong B-list character, even though he has a lot of stuff lacking. Now, his Jumanji stance is a very strong stance. Now, this stance by itself, this solidifies Kage as being a high B-list character, because with this stance, Kage pretty much has everything going for him. He has a parry in this stance. If you try to attack him, he can parry your attacks. He's got frame traps from the stance, counter hit. He has everything from this stance. So this Jumanji stance is one of the most dangerous stances in the game, and this stance by itself is what's making Kage such a B-list character. Without this stance, Kage would actually be a C-list character, but since he has this Jumanji stance, and also his other stance too, his other stance is pretty much annoying. It's another stance, kind of gimmicky, kind of like, but that's what Kage relies off of, and that's the reason why I keep on saying that he's a strong B-list character, because of these gimmicks, I guess you could say, or shenanigans, you know what I'm saying? I guess that's just Kage's ninja way, you feel what I'm saying? But all these things that Kage has, it makes him a high B-list character, and it makes him a tough character to deal with, because it does make Kage unpredictable. All the gimmickry that he creates, it makes him very unpredictable, and that's the reason why I put him as a high B-list character. But I still put Lao in front of Kage. Like I said, Lao is straight to the point, and Lao does not really rely off gimmickry like Kage does. And like I said, Lao is quicker, Lao is faster, and Lao is definitely more powerful than Kage. So he clearly is ahead of Kage as far as the B-list tier. Now we're going to go on to Gao Hinugami. And Gao, I put him right in the middle of the B-list. And Gao is pretty much an interesting character. And the reason for it is, Gao, believe it or not, is very similar to that of Lao. He has very similar setups. His executions are very similar. He has a 6K that can set you up for combo damage and other things just the same as Lao can. He also has a 4-6P that can set you up for combo damage just like Lao. So he's very similar to that of Lao. The only difference is that Gao does not have the firepower to back it up, because he has other strengths that he uses to inflict damage, which Gao is very powerful. Another reason why I put him in the B list. Also too, Gao is a character that when in close range, he relies off grabbing and clutching. And if that doesn't work, he does have quite a few executions. Although he doesn't have the firepower, he has a lot of executions to set his opponent up, which makes him a very interesting character. Also, it makes him a character that you have to be extremely patient with. So if you can get the patience down with Gao, Gao could be a very rewarding character, very powerful. He doesn't have a combo game, but at the same time, that is not his strength, and it's something that you really don't have to worry about with him. The few combos that he does have is just more than enough to get the job done with Gao. Not only that, Gao just has a good ground game too. He has ground throws, he has crouch throws. This is what makes Gao extremely interesting. Gao, strong B-list character, but like I said, I put him in the middle of the B-list because even though he's very powerful, he does not have the firepower to kind of back that up like Lao does, or Kage at that matter. But he has other ways to be effective, and if you have the patience and pull out those other ways to be effective, as I said before, Gao can be a great character. Gao is also counter hit rewarding too. One of the best counter hit characters in the game. He's right up there with Lao, Jackie, and a couple of other characters. So like I said, all around balanced, all around rewarding character. And that's why I feel like he's number 3 on the B list here. So then after Gao Hinugami, it's Wolf and Jeffrey. Now I'm not going to say too much about Wolf and Jeffrey, because I just stated earlier that they are very similar and they both can be flip-flopped as far as their placing. But I am going to give my reasons on why both of these characters are B tier, because I know in past, I know a lot of people have put these characters very low, like on a C or a D tier, but I beg to differ with these two characters, even though like Wolf, I don't necessarily like him as a character because I just feel like he got a lot of cheap shit going on. But you know what? We got to give credit to where credit is due. Wolf does deserve to be in the B list. And one thing I noticed with these two characters, the reason why I put these two in the B tier is because, of course, their power levels. They're very powerful. They're two of the most powerful characters in the game because they're heavyweights, and, you know, they rely off of throws and grappling. Now here's the thing with Jeffrey. Jeffrey does not really rely too much off of throws, but he does have them in his arsenal. Wolf, of course, he has the most powerful throw in the game, the Burning Hammer. And these two characters have insane range. The range on these two characters is just absolutely ridiculous. These two characters, they have attacks that just stretch for miles, and these two characters can get in your face within a blink of an eye. Even though they're heavyweights, they're not as fast as other characters in the game. These two characters can get in your face very quickly. So, like I said, there's a lot of underrated things going on with Wolf and Jeffrey. And like I said, the range, power level. Also, both of these characters have pretty good combo games as well. So very underrated characters. They deserve to be in the B tier, and I feel like that's where they should be. Now here is where things get kind of interesting, and that is the C tier list in Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown that I had put up. And as you can see right here, this is the tier list of the C class. Vanessa, Eileen, Leon, Pi, Sarah, L-Blaze. Now here's the most interesting thing with all of these characters in the C list. Everything is pretty much equal. Everything is pretty much down the line, pretty much balanced. And what I mean by that is when any of these characters in this list go up against each other, it is just equal. It is really 50-50, and battles and matches can go either way. Now here's the thing. I do put Vanessa at the beginning of the C list, even though it's my opinion, and this is the reason why, because I feel like out of the whole C tier, she is the most powerful character. Of course, she's the most powerful female character. We already know that, and I do have her more powerful than Leon and L-Blaze. You put Vanessa up against any one of these characters in the C list, Vanessa definitely has the tools to neutralize anyone in that list. But at the same time, everybody in this list is just practically equal. Like, you know, Sarah, Eileen, like everything is equal. They're not bad characters. None of these characters are bad characters. There's no negativity. The C list just practically means that these characters, when it comes to each other, everything is just completely equal. Like, you put Sarah up against Pi, I think that's equal. You know, Sarah, she has a good rush down with the flamingo, and you know, Pi has ways to kind of get through that with her parries and stuff like that. So that is the, you know, the examples that I'm trying to put out there with this list. Like, and there's really no right or wrong order for this C list. I just happen to put Vanessa in front because her power level. She is the most powerful out of the C list. So like I said, anybody could be in front of the C list. It could be any order, but that's how I feel about the characters that are in the C list. Everything is just totally balanced. With these C list characters, let's just say if they go up against an A list or a B list, these characters can still hold their own against the A list or the B list. So like I said, with these C list characters, nothing bad about none of these characters at all. Just everything is just all around average. And the last main reason why I put these collection of characters in the C list, because these characters have one thing in common, and that is these characters take a lot of damage. These characters have some great tools at their disposal, both offensively and defensively. They have great tools, but these characters will take a lot of damage. For example, a character like Sarah, she can run you down like crazy. She can frame trap you to death with her flamingo. She can chip away at your health. But at the same time, if Sarah, Vanessa, or L-Blaze, if they get caught in a counter hit situation or a launcher situation and get max comboed, they're going to lose a lot of damage, and it's going to be hard for them to get back into the match. It's going to become a struggle for these characters in this list because they take so much damage. And if they're already behind in the match count, it's going to be really hard for these characters to really get some type of upper hand on them because they have to work so hard. So that is another reason why these group of characters are in the C list. They take a lot of damage, and if they do take damage, it becomes even harder for these characters to really get back into the match. So now we're going to pay attention to the D tier. So now with the D tier, I'm going to do something kind of different here, but we're going to start off with Lei Fei, because even though I put Lei Fei as a D tier character, I put him in front for a reason, because he is not like the other characters that I have in the D tier. And the reason why I feel that way is because Lei Fei, you know, I was thinking about putting him in the C tier, but I'm going to explain why I feel like Lei Fei is a D tier character. And one of the first things about Lei Fei is, Lei Fei has been kind of criticized as being the flow chart character, basically just all offense and nothing else. A lot of characters have gotten that, that criticism, but the thing with Lei Fei is that Lei Fei is a character that he packs a mean punch. He can inflict a lot of damage, but he does not really have anything else to kind of hide his deficiencies, which he has a lot of them. He has a lot of weaknesses that other characters can definitely take care of. He does have stances, but those stances really don't bode to a lot. He does have the one 8P plus K plus G stance, which is an auto parry. He does have that, but as far as his other stances, me personally, they really don't do anything really, especially if a player knows what to look for with Lei Fei. Lei Fei can really get punished in his stances. So, it's just really with Lei Fei, he's really a one-dimensional character. Like you said, he has the offense. He can trade offense with anyone, but when it comes to everything else, that's where Lei Fei really has shortcomings at. He does have some defensive tools and stuff like that, but it's just with Lei Fei, for some strange reason, all of that what he has just does not hide his deficiencies. His deficiencies really stand out. A really dedicated VF player will definitely take advantage of Lei Fei's shortcomings, and he has a lot of them. A lot of characters can really severely punish him. Characters such as Akira, Lao, and a couple of other characters, he can get severely punished and can take a lot of damage depending on what character that you're using. So like I said, for Lei Fei, it can be a struggle, but like I said, he does have the offense, but if his offense does not work, Lei Fei really doesn't have no other plan. So that's why I put him as the highest of the D tier, because he does have offense and he does have damage. He can inflict damage, but after that, Lei Fei is pretty much one-dimensional. The next character on this D list is Taka, and the reason why I put Taka as a D list, first I'm gonna start off because there's been a lot of talk about how Taka is a high tier and all of that. Man, I'm not buying none of that stuff. I really do think Taka is a bad character, and that's the reason why he was taken out of VF4, because Taka is a character that he practically has his own meta. And what I mean by that is, when you go up against Taka, you're basically playing a completely different fighting game when you go up against Taka. This character actually makes your character a lesser tier than they actually are, because you have to play to his meta. Me personally, I don't think that's a good character. I think that's a bad character. Like I said, they put him back in VF5, so we got to deal with it. But at the same time, I put Taka as a D character because when you go up against him, you're playing his meta. You're not playing Virtua Fighter. You're playing Taka Fighter. That's what you're playing. And your character is actually a tier less than what they actually are. And for an example, if you are a user of an A tier character or a B tier character, you go up against Taka, that A tier character becomes B tier. That B tier character becomes C tier. So y'all feel what I'm saying when it comes to Taka? That is how it is when you go up against Taka. You are a tier less when you go up against him, because you have to modify everything when you go up against him, because he plays his own meta. And I also got to say something too about these last four characters here: Taka, Jinkujo, Aoi, and Brad. These characters are put in a D list for one specific reason. On side of the other messed up things that they have is because these characters carry. Now, Jinkujo is not a carry character, but we're going to get to him in a minute. But Taka, because he plays his own meta, because he makes you modify yourself as a player, modify your character, he carries, and it allows him to carry whoever's playing with him, and I think that's complete BS. So now we're going to talk about Jinkujo and the reason why I put Jinkujo on the D list. And the reason for Jinkujo being on the D list, it is very simple, and I know a lot of VF players can relate to me on what I'm about to explain. Why I put Jinkujo so low is because he is just an abusive, brain-dead character. His moves are abusive, and if you go up against a Jinkujo player online or wherever, you're just gonna see moves come out in an abusive fashion, Not only that, they're gonna be just non-stop. And like I said before, there are very few Jinkujo practitioners out there, but when you come across some, you're just gonna expect a lot of abuse, expect a lot of moves being spammed, being mashed over and over and over again, and it's complete nuts. Other than that, I really don't have too much to say about the character other than he's just an abusive character, abusive moves. And like I said, he's pretty much online. He's just super safe online. You really can't punish this character at all. You're basically playing tick for tack against this character. This character is just stupid. He's really just, I mean, to be quite honest with you, he's Virtua Fighter's version of Luke if you really think about it. Very, very abusive. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, sometimes when you go up against this character, you're playing tick for tack. You can't really punish him like that. So it's just really just, you know, autopilot. It's Jinku, that is the word. Jinkujo is autopilot. He really is. That's why I feel like he's on the D list. And quite frankly, in my opinion, he's another character that's just not really all that good of a character to me. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Now we're going to go to the last two characters. Now, these last two characters here, I'm just going to be straight real with it. The reason why these characters are at the bottom where they deserve to be, Aoi and Brad, just like I just mentioned, because these two characters, they carry the players. Plain and simple, we already know about Aoi and how she basically disregards the meta of the game. Now, Taka plays his own meta. When you go up against Taka, you're just playing a different fighting game altogether. This character, Aoi, she just literally disregards the meta of the game. It's kind of like you're playing telegraph. That's what you are. She basically just says fuck fundamentals and does whatever she wants. You know, she's not all that powerful either. And she's a lightweight, so she takes a lot of damage. But the problem with this character is she carries so hard to the point where it's just like, she's a character that has the ability to basically make you or force you to abandon what you're accustomed of doing. And not only that, she's also a character that will basically fuck up the flow and break the game, which is not good at all. And she's very toxic. And another reason why I feel like this character is at the D list is because this character has the ability to cancel out of her disadvantages. She can literally go -18 and cancel out of it. You think you got a clear launch punishment, but no you don't. This character can literally cancel out of it and reverse you. Complete bullshit. This character is toxic and she carries, and everybody pretty much knows that. She's one of the worst characters in the game because of that, and she's really the lamest character in the game because of that. And also too, it just makes her a safe character because you think you got a punishment up and then she presses that button that canceled into a Tenchi or whatever. You're just looking at the screen like, are you fucking serious? So Aoi, complete carry character, completely toxic. That is why she's on the D list. Now we're going to go to the end and we're going to go to Mr. Brad Burns. And I've said this in the past. I literally have basically labeled Brad as the Fakamram of VF. This character is basically just spammy, mashy. And like I said, this character also carries the player to the point he will make a lot of players look better than they actually are, because this character is practically just, you pick this character up, press any type of buttons, you're going to get big damage. Yeah, kind of like Warong. You know, Warong, Fakamram, this character is that cheap. Like I said, he is a punishable character, but at the same time, when you got to deal with all that mashing and all of that spamming, a lot to deal with here. And this is why this character, one of the worst characters in the game. A lot of people, they be like, well, Brad is S tier, Brad is A tier. That's a goddamn lie. No, he's not. He's one of the worst characters in the game, and he's a character that literally carries the player, plain and simple. Is that my opinion? Yes, but deep down inside, that is kind of a little bit of facts. This character carries. I'm starting to kind of feel like he was created personally for that. I'm starting to feel like he was created specifically to carry. Just this character, the shit that he does is kind of like, okay, press a button, there you go, big damage. Nope, I don't think so. But this whole thing about Brad being S tier, A tier, man, people need to get out of here with that shit. It's one of the worst characters in the game. He's a carry character, completely mashy, spammy, just disgusting. Get him out of here. When your characters that carry like these two characters do, Aoi and Brad, you just get no respect from me, period. These two characters get no respect from me because they carry, and they carry hard. And Brad is absolute trash, and that's facts. So let me know about the tier list that I put together for Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Put y'all thoughts and y'all feelings in the comment section below. If y'all got a tier list in mind or something like that, if y'all want to put a character in a certain tier spot, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. Keep the comments respectful. I will get back at y'all in the next video. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe for the hottest Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown action and content on the internet, period. God bless. Stay safe. I am out. Peace.